Hello everyone, I hope you have all had a wonderful Merry Christmas, and if you didn't know, when I was in 5th grade, I made this. It's a comic that I made called Grump Dan and Fart Girl, and if you do know what it is, how? Because I didn't share this with anyone. Like, this was like my dirty little secret right here. I'd be sitting in the back of the classroom drawing this in 5th grade. I'd be at my house, I'd be in the basement making sure no one's around when I drew this because, I'm not exactly sure why, because I'm not particularly embarrassed about this. There's a lot of things in my past that I'm embarrassed about, but this, like, almost genuinely, I think is a work of art, and I genuinely have no idea why I didn't pursue my comic writing career. Only problem with it is that the pencil is fading on a lot of pages, and because of the way I folded it, there are a lot of spots where it is extremely hard to read. But I love the essence, and before this completely crumbles like the Declaration of Independence, I want to preserve it by recreating it, and that's what I plan on doing today. So, before I do that, I do want to give you a bit of background on this, because bear with me because it might take a little while, but it is genuinely amazing. So this was a comic series I made titled Grump Dan and Fart Girl, and because of the folded edges, it is definitely very hard to see that it does indeed say that. And that is definitely a reason why we need to redraw this, especially when the comic does get a bit curled up in the corner and it's hard to see text over there. I just didn't staple this to make it into a book very well. But the story is quite simple. Basically, this guy farts out this fart. It's hard to see here because it is folded over, but she says, "Oh, I'm Fart Girl." And then in response to that, to like introduce this guy's name, he says, "I'm Grump," and then I wrote "damn," but I censored it. Not very grammatically direct. And so she thinks he said Grump Dan, so she replies, "Hi, Grump Dan." And then he says, "I guess that's more appropriate for a kid's comic." So already the self-awareness hitting in frame 7 of the first comic. So then she invites people to come to her birthday party on Facebook because she was born that day, because he just farted her out. And every single comic ends with Fart Girl saying every single one, except the last one. I think I made it, but the rest of them do end. That's kind of like the punchline. She always ends it with saying So in episode 2, the party is all set up, and then one of the people who show up the door is this very cute fart with very fluffy hair. And Fart Girl is very in love with him, as you can see with the heart above her eyes. Second thing he ever says to her, "Can I call you babe?" And to which Fart Girl responds, "Okay." And the third one, they're, I guess, officially dating now, and Fart Girl introduces Grump Dan to her boyfriend, which is the guy with the hair. And then she says, "We will kiss at midnight." I don't know what this is leading up to. It's very weird. So then it zooms in on Grump Dan's face very slowly, and inside of his eye it says, "I love Fart Girl." And then he's like, "I gotta stop this," because he doesn't want him to kiss at midnight. He wants to be with Fart Girl. He has a big crush on her. And then the fart says in return, "Dan, there is no chance, because at midnight I will kiss her and then kill her." And then he's like, "I'll kill you." So then in the next episode, he comes up with a plan on how he's gonna sabotage this mission of them kissing. So there they are. They're about to kiss. They're so close to kissing, but he has a knife out because he's gonna kill her. So then he stands between him and the knife. And then Fart Girl realizes, and she's like, "A knife?" And then he's like, "Uh-huh." And then he kicks him off, because apparently there's a stage. So he kicks him off the stage. And then he's like, "Want to go out?" But she's like, because she's not too into him. At least not yet. So, and then this episode, Grump Dan absolutely gets friend-zoned. He's like, "I love you." Fart Girl's like, "I love you as a friend too." And then Grump Dan's like, "I love you." And then she's like, "Friend hug." Okay. And then apparently there's like a whole big crowd that's like going like, "Woo!" And then one of the people in the crowd's like, "Kiss her." So then there's this whole like side character arc where she has to go to fart school because she was just born, and she becomes a fashion designer. And then Grump Dan calls Fart Girl's car sexy for some reason. And then in the next episode, Fart Girl gets Grump Dan a new set of sunglasses. And then he asks a very good question. "Why don't you love me?" And then she says in response, a fart cannot love his or own owner unless the owner is also a fart. And then look, inside of his eye, his heart is broken from that. And then he goes, I wish I was a fart. So then into the next episode, Fart Girl gets an online boyfriend, which she shows her on her phone. And then while Grumpdan's reading the newspaper, he sees a potion that makes you a fart for $100, or it's free in Asia. Which it is so weird and a broad statement that I made. Like, wouldn't it be cheaper to buy it for $100 than to fly all the way out to Asia from these characters' locations, which I never specify, but it's kind of assumed that they're like in America. Then they fly all the way out to Asia to get, but Grumpdan doesn't tell Fart Girl that he's getting the potion. They just think she's going to a theme park. So then the next day, Grumpdan takes her to a theme park. Grumpdan sees the potion on like a desk, and then he goes to grab it, but then he has to do all these weird things. If you want it, he has to get like completely naked, and then take off his glasses, which apparently that's what he looks like underneath his glasses the whole time. But then after that, he is successfully able to turn into a fart and turn back into a human at will. So then he goes back home with Fart Girl. In the beginning of the next episode, Fart Girl's like, I'm gonna call my boyfriend. But then Grumpdan's like, wait, before you do, I wanted to show you something. And then Fart Girl's like, what? And he's like, here goes nothing. And then he turns into a fart. And Fart Girl is absolutely speechless. Grumpdan's like, do you love me? Fart Girl stutters for a moment, and then she's like, yes. So then they're about to kiss, and then they kiss. And then Fart Girl's like, I have a secret too, poof, and she turns into a human. And Grumpdan's like, wow. And he's like, then she says, the thing about I couldn't love you was fake. I just didn't want to be with you at first. And then Grumpdan's like, that's so sweet. And Fart Girl's like, and so are you. Grumpdan's like, want to take a walk? And then she turns back into a fart, and she's like, sure. And then they hold hands, and they walk away. The end. And that's the end of season 1. And on the back I wrote, season 2 coming soon, but never made it until now. So the first and, in my opinion, most important thing that I want to change from this comic to when I redraw it in the new one is making the frames more dynamic. Because making this grid pattern and then just drawing in definitely works, but making different sizes and different shapes and a different flow and way of reading the comic will definitely help with making it more dynamic and fun reading experience. Okay, so I have added the minimal color that I was hoping to, and I made the entire thing. I added a few extra lines of dialogue, but I pretty much kept every single thing the same. Which I was very surprised that I would agree with many of the things that I wrote down and drew as a 10-year-old. So that was definitely a surprising part about this. But I did want to put a little side-by-side comparison on the screen right now, just so you can see what it was and what it is now. And I hope to do this with the rest of the 10 and then make up season 2 in another video some other time. But for right now, I gotta work on some animation that I'm going to be putting on this channel not too far from now. And that's it for this one. But yeah, that's it for now. I'm super happy with this, and hey, maybe sometime in the future I might make a Grumpdan and Fart Girl animation of some kind. And I'm also working on other animation projects, that's right, multiple at the moment. So I hope to share those with you as soon as I possibly can, but that's it for now. Since it is winter break, I did want to say a very merry, happy Christmas, holidays, and New Year to those who celebrate any/all of those.